Hello everyone, I've got a collab tutorial for you today, and it is a Bravest Warriors themed collab with Polymomotea, and he's going to show you how to make the super adorable sugar bellies from the last episode in season 1. So I'm going to show you how to make a Jellykid charm who fits into his little toast Raft figurine. I just thought it would be such a cute idea to have a place to store your charm like this. So let's begin! So first I'm just going to take the tiniest little bit of light blue clay and mix it with translucent to make a translucent blue. So this is the approximate ratio that I mixed. The brand of translucent that I use is Dukit, and this is a New Zealand brand, but you can use whatever translucent is available to you locally. So tear off a small piece and roll it into a ball. And then start rolling it between your thumb and forefinger until you get a jelly bean shape. And flatten it down a little bit. Then just shape it with your fingers like this. And this is what you should end up with. And this is for Jellykid's head. Now to make his body, just take a smaller ball of clay. I'm showing you the comparative size here. Roll this with more pressure on one side between your thumb and forefinger to make a teardrop shape. And then just continue shaping it with your fingers. Now I'm going to take my X-Acto knife and cut it around halfway down. As Jellykid has a kind of plump little body, it doesn't go too much narrower towards the top. And we're just going to add this onto the head. And I'm just going to take my needle tool and fix it on. And then I'm also going to take my silicone tool and continue to smooth it out. And this is what it looks like. So now we're just going to make the top of his head. So just take a small ball of clay, flatten it out slightly, and then cut it down the middle. And then push it onto the top of the head. And then you can use your needle tool to smooth it on. Now I'm going to make Jellykid's face, so what I'm going to do is just take some plain translucent, roll it into a small ball, and then roll it into an elongated egg shape. Looks more like a grain of sushi rice. And then flatten it down. And then I'm just going to use my silicone shaper or my finger to just push down each side to make it slightly curved. And now is the hard part. So now I'm just going to take my X-Acto knife and cut off a little piece to make it easier to stick the face on. And then just take the little piece that you made and push it on and gently smooth it on with your fingers. And this is what it looks like. Now I'm going to make the arms and the legs, so take 2 tiny balls of clay and start rolling them out into thin logs that are slightly pointed on the ends. Then just take your knife and cut away the ends. For the legs you want to cut them straight, and for the arms you want to cut them slanted. As Jellykid is waving goodbye on his raft, I want to make one arm pointing slightly upwards and the other one down. So just take one of the arms and fix it on the body and use your needle tool to secure it on. Do the same with the other side. And as you can see, one of the arms is slightly pointing upwards while the other one is slightly facing down. And then just fix the legs on as well, same way. And now the clay part of your Jellykid is done. So now what I'm doing is just making a hole to put my eye screw in. And screwing that in. And then just smoothing the edges like this. And then this is what your Jellykid looks like, so go ahead and bake him for the time recommended on your packet. So now we're going to make the raft, so I'm going to use some brown clay. So make 6 small balls out of this clay, like this, and roll them all out into logs. And then you want to flatten the logs. And as you flatten each log, line it up alongside the other flattened logs, like this. And try to make sure that the logs are approximately the same length. And then just use your needle tool to straighten up the edges a little bit by patting them on the side. And I'm just using my knife to get it up off the table. And this is what it looks like. Now I'm going to take some beigey off-white clay and use it to make the rope that binds the raft together. So make a thin snake of clay. So lay the wooden platform down on the snake of clay and make sure it's straight. And then just lightly tap it down, and then pull the rest of the snake over the top of it. And then just cut off the excess and fix together. And you can use your needle tool to make sure that it's straight as well. And then just do the same with the other side. And this is what it looks like. Now we're going to make the leaf that goes on the raft. So I'm just using some bluish green clay, and I made this color by mixing blue, green and translucent. So take a medium-sized ball of clay and start flattening it out into a disc, and it should be quite thick, and then start pulling the disc on each end to make it into an oval. And pinch and roll one end to make the stem, and then use whatever tool you have to make a slight dent in the center of the leaf. And pinch the top of the leaf as well to make it slightly pointed. And now I'm just going to use my needle tool to make the veins. Making the details here is optional, as this leaf will also get covered up by the sail and other details that you're going to add later, so it just depends how much effort you want to put into it. So basically I just made a line down the middle, and then I just started making Y-shaped lines coming off that center line. And now I'm just taking a larger needle tool, and I'm making little indents along the edge of the leaf to give it some more shape. And then I'm just going to take the leaf and place it on the raft. So now I'm going to make the toast sail. So I'm going to take a ball of that same beige off-white clay and start flattening it out. And then I'm going to roll it out into a flat circle like this. And it is still quite thick. And then I'm going to take my knife and cut 3 sides of a square. And then just cut away the sides of the toast at an angle like this. And then cut a little V at the top. And now I'm just cutting off the sharp edges, as we want this to be smooth and round. So just gently rub your fingers along the edges and smooth it and press it until it becomes smooth and rounded. And then I'm just going to take a toothbrush and texture it on both sides so that it looks like this. And now for the crust, I'm going to take a light brown clay, roll it out into a thin snake, and then start wrapping it around the toast. Using my needle tool to get it into the little indents. And then just cut off the excess and smooth down the edge. And then you can also texturize this using a toothbrush. Now I'm just going to take my small needle tool and push it through the bottom of the toast, and then thread it back through the top. And then just carefully pull it off again. And now I'm going to take a bigger needle tool and do the same thing. This will make it easier to insert the clay mask later on. And so I'm going to take that same brown that we used for the raft and make a small ball of it, roll it out into a log and flatten it out. And then I'm going to take some wire just to strengthen it up a little bit. This is very thin and bendy wire, so it's not very strong, but it does add a little bit of backbone to the mast. So I'm just going to take a straight length of it like this, put it in the clay, and then wrap the edges over the top of it. And once it's completely covered, you can gently start to roll it. Roll it gently with your fingers and pull on each side to thin it out if you need to, and then just cut off the excess. And make one of the tips a little bit more pointy, just to make it easier for yourself to thread it through. And to make it easier to push it through the toast without it getting damaged, bake this for just 5 minutes. Once it's done, you can just thread it through the toast and just use wire cutters or strong scissors to shorten it down to size. So then just use your needle tool to make a hole where you'd like the mask to be at the top of the leaf. and then just make sure it fits. And now to strengthen the base of the mast, I'm going to take a little ball of clay, make a hole in the middle, and fix this around the other hole, and smooth it down. So then just use a little bit of TLS and fit the mast inside the leaf. So this is our baked little jelly kid. And what we're going to do is just push him onto the leaf where we want him to stand so that we know where the feet will go. So take 2 small balls of the same color clay, use some TLS and flatten them onto the raft, and then gently press your jelly kid's feet into those little domes, and then you can just smooth down the edges. And this is what you end up with. So now once you've baked this, jelly kid should be able to stand up in here. So go ahead and bake your raft for the recommended time as well. And so this is what he looks like when everything is baked. And then we're just going to paint on the face. So start with some blue paint and just use a big ball tool like this to dot on the eyes. If you don't have a ball tool, you can also use a paintbrush. As you can see, my ball tool isn't big enough to actually just dot the eyes on, so I use it in just circular little movement to make them the size I want. And this is what they look like. And now I'm just going to take the thinnest little brush and paint on the mouth. You want a little smiley mouth like this, just between the eyes. Once this is completely dry, take some white paint on a smaller ball tool and dot in the highlights of the eyes. And now I'm just going to take a toothpick and dot on the smaller highlights at the bottom of the eyes. Like this. Now I'm just taking a very small ball tool, you can also use a toothpick, and I'm just painting on the highlights around the body. They look a little bit like cartoonish exclamation points. 2 on the top of the head, 2 on the face, a bunch of them around the body, and some on the arms and legs. And now once this is completely dry, I'm going to do some similar markings on his back. And now wait for him to dry and it's time to glaze. So recently I've been trying a new way to glaze, which is to dip my charms in Future Shine floor polish. This glaze is really thin, so you have to do many coats of it, but when you do, it makes the charms really smooth and shiny. Tap off the excess on a tissue paper. And then once he's dry, you're all done. If you want to, you're more than welcome to glaze the raft as well. If you do choose to glaze yours, just remember to avoid the little holes where you put Jelly Kid's feet. So that's all for this tutorial. Thank you so much for watching, and don't forget to check out Polymomotea's part of the collab as well. I will be following his tutorial to make some of my own, as they turned out really cute. I hope you are all having a super fun holiday season, and I'll catch you in my next video. Bye!
Jelly Kid, no!